Hi everyone, I'm Sofia. It's so nice to meet you, and we're so excited to share a little bit about our mission with you.
Hi, everybody. It's so great to meet you all. My name is Arianna Sun, and like Sophia said, we're really excited to share with you what we have going on.
Well, that's amazing. My name is Arn Botra. I'm 16 years old and I'm from Chicago, Illinois, and I'll be our lead host for this session. And then we have Vanya from California, who will be our student host, and she'll be helping you guys introduce and get started. But let me know if you guys have anyone else you need promoted.
No, it'll just be us, but thank you.
So would you guys please introduce yourself and tell us where you're from and how old you are?
Of course. My name is Arianna Sun. Again, I'm 16 years old. I'm from Boston, Massachusetts.
My name is Sofia Hennessy. I'm also from Boston, Massachusetts, and I'm 17 years old.
So you guys can start your presentation now, and at the end we may ask you a few questions.
Okay, sounds good.
Sophia and are from NoVasta. NoVasta is a global youth-led organization centered around reducing food waste and food insecurity. And coincidentally, today is part of Food Waste Prevention Week, which is like a national initiative around reducing food waste. So, what is NoVasta? I think Sophia can talk a little bit about our organization.
Yes, so NoVasta essentially has a dual mission of alleviating or decreasing food waste and alleviating food insecurity. Essentially, we partner with restaurants, bakeries, or just any establishment that has excess food and throws food away at the end of the day. And we have our team or our volunteers donate that excess food to shelters, churches, or food kitchens, or just any establishment that redirects food waste to those in need. And we also have another mission that I think Ariana can expand a little bit more on, but we're very passionate about educating young people on the consequences of food waste and the realities and statistics of food insecurity as they sort of go hand in hand. And we also, since the beginning, have had just a general goal of pushing for some sort of policy or legislation change surrounding food waste.
Definitely. I think I can talk a little bit more into its founding. My parents and my grandparents were family members who were really impacted by food insecurity, and they were also in a country where there was food waste going on. But coming to America, especially growing up, I think certainly we've all seen a lot of food waste, and we live in this world of abundance. And I used to volunteer at a food kitchen, and while I was walking home, every day I'd walk past these restaurants and I'd see them throwing away a lot of food. And it seemed really strange to me that we just spent so much time making these food for people who do need food. And there were many restaurants throwing away the resources that we needed. So that was what kind of sparked my founding. And Sophia and Ruth Gelaye, who is not able to make it here today, are co-founders. I think I also wanted to share a little bit about our policy and advocacy. We'll definitely be diving more into these later, but we are very focused on policy and advocacy as it's one of the only ways to make long-lasting and long-standing change.
Yes. So just I know we have some statistics on the screen, which are obviously very disturbing to see. But just something else that is very important about NoVasta is that we are striving to make an environmental impact, as food waste does contribute to very many environmental issues such as pollution, deforestation, agricultural issues, etc. So that is something that we also like to highlight when talking about the consequences of food waste.
Definitely. I think it's displayed on the screen. We're seeing that 1/3 of the world's food is often gone to waste, and 45% of all fruits and vegetables do contribute to our global food waste. And then further here on the bottom, we're able to see where the source of a lot of this food waste comes from.
Yes, so I think we also like to educate people, just going back to that really quickly, on how they can make an individual impact and how they can waste less within their homes and just like daily lives. But also, a bigger source of the issue is larger establishments like restaurants or just any companies that produce food, which is why that's sort of what we're targeting.
Most definitely. I think we are able to make an impact on an individual level, but to make a larger and bigger scale change, it is really essential to be targeting a lot of these institutions that produce the majority of the food waste. And food waste is something that happens at every step of the processing level. So we're able to see that here in production, a lot of food is wasted due to damage by extreme weather and overplanting and spoilage. And then at the processing level, there's a lot of blemished products that are gone to waste. And further at these retail and food services, a lot of stuff is gone to waste, whether it's from not being able to be sold or overstocking.
Yes, and food waste also leads to just a myriad of different environmental issues. For example, greenhouse gas emissions. It's responsible for a substantial amount of greenhouse gas emissions, especially methane, which is even more potent than carbon dioxide. Water waste, water pollution, deforestation, also just a waste of energy because so much energy goes into producing that food that is essentially not put to use, as well as overfishing and overhunting and just general overproduction.
Definitely. I think sometimes when people think about the environment and we think about climate change, food waste is something that doesn't come to people's mind at first, but it is something that contributes to so much of global emissions. And it's something that we should keep in mind because it's something so innate in all of our lives every day.
Food waste also has many negative economic consequences, as so much money goes into producing food for businesses, farmers, manufacturers, and then that food does not get um, consumed. And then also, people just on an individual scale tend to buy a lot of food, whether it's at a restaurant or at a grocery store or supermarket, and then they don't end up consuming all of it. And it's very unfortunate to see as food insecurity is such a large issue. I mean, we see it in our city, in our state. We also see it at a national and international level. And unfortunately, many of those who are food insecure struggle with that issue due to economic instability or lack of economic resources. And to see how much money is being lost from food that is not consumed is sort of a paradox.
I think another thing that Sophia did touch upon earlier is why it's so necessary to take a holistic approach at reducing food waste in our communities. I think Sophia also talked about food insecurity, and within our own community and city, we're able to see that in Boston or Massachusetts, 1 in every 3 families face food insecurity, and that is a striking amount of people. And at the same time, we have so much food waste going on within Massachusetts. For instance, a landfill in the US, there's over 3,000 active landfills, and Americans generate an average of 4.6 pounds of solid waste per person per day. And the US generates about 250 and 400 million tons of garbage annually. Sophia, if you're able to talk a little bit more about these statistics.
Yes. So of course, as Ariana was saying, sharing some of those statistics, we do as individuals and as a nation produce very much food waste. About 31% or over 32% of the trash is recycled or composted, and about 50% is buried in landfills. And landfills, there are many issues associated with landfills. They can infiltrate other groundwater sources, which essentially impacts the water that we drink. on a regular basis, and it can also lead to it can harm wherever landfills are. It can harm just sort of wildlife or like ecosystems nearby, and it also emits greenhouse gases, especially methane, which is the most detrimental one.
Definitely, I think this is also an increasingly important issue because food contributes to around 10% of our global gas emissions, but also we see here that the US is on track to run out of landfill space by 2036. That is a date that's within the near future. So I definitely see this issue coming into the headlights in the next few years.
Yes, especially as the amount of waste we produce is predicted to increase somewhat rapidly.
Now, we wanted to talk a little bit about how you individually can fight food waste. Definitely at an individual scale within your own family, you are able to make a very potent effect. If you're able to cook food that will go bad, you can also get creative. You can go to the Food Waste Prevention Week Instagram to see a lot of different recipes and ways you can be creative in using your extra scraps. First and secondly, you also want to freeze your food to make sure it doesn't go bad. And also in a legislative way, if you're able to contact your local legislators and just do a little research on what environmental groups are around yourself, and even just a quick Google search can inform yourself a lot about what you're contributing and what you can do in the future.
Yes, I think just a really important aspect of that is sort of getting yourself to realize what an impact you are making on the environment, as opposed to what sort of impacts you could be preventing. Something I think Ariana was mentioning this earlier, but we just sort of live a life of abundance, and we're so used to having many resources. That we just kind of take it for granted. But I think really educating yourself on these issues and making sure to keep them in mind just on a day-to-day basis can be very helpful and can really help you make a difference as an individual.
Definitely. We wanted to dive a little bit more into policy and advocacy. So at NoVasta, we are really committed to making a long-standing impact through policy and advocacy. Um, Recently, we submitted a notice to sorry, one second. It seems like it's not here, but we submitted comments and we're pushing for more generalized date labeling that is less confusing for consumers to produce less food waste in that area.
Yes, we are also part of the Zero Food Waste Coalition, which is a coalition of different schools, organizations, and companies that are all working to create legislation on both state and federal levels to push for things such as the USDA comments that we submitted that Ariana was mentioning, and just other legislation to prevent and decrease food waste.
Now, in conclusion, around each year, 103 million tons of food, or 30 to 40% of our food supply gets wasted. I think we all know that this is a huge amount of food, but now you have learned about the impacts of the situation and how to fight food waste. We hope we're able to strive to reduce our food waste better.
Yes, thank you so much for taking the time to listen to us speak on these very important issues. These are very prominent issues in our society and just on in our world at a global scale. And we really hope that this will inspire you to consider these things and also just keep educating yourself and keep educating other people on what they can be doing to prevent food waste and food insecurity.
I wanted to dive a little bit more into our organization. I think we shared a lot of statistics that are behind the conscience of our founding this organization, but we did want to talk a little bit more about our organization and how you can get involved. So NoVasta was founded in Boston, Massachusetts. We now have over 400 members and we have 22 chapters globally. We're in 4 countries. And we definitely want you guys to get involved. For anyone listening, we would love for you to start a chapter. We would love to meet with you in any way to help you start that chapter and reduce food waste at your local scale. I'm not sure if we covered a lot about specifically what we do, but we partner with a lot of local restaurants and we transport their excess food at the end of the day to local shelters.
Yes, if you would be interested in starting a chapter or just learning more about what we've done, what we are currently doing, and what we plan to do in the future, feel free to check out either our Instagram or our website. Our website is novastaboston.org, and then there's also access to information on starting a chapter on there. And we also, just as Ariana was saying, we do have chapters across multiple countries, but we are always looking to expand our impact as these issues of food waste and food insecurity can be seen anywhere and everywhere on large scales. So yes, and if you, we have a lot of students who thankfully are like-minded, and we always like connecting with like-minded youth. So if you'd be interested in connecting with us, we would love to meet with anyone who's interested, and we would always love to share our experience.
Definitely. I think Sophia talked about how these issues aren't unique to our own communities. Definitely, that was something that we saw within Boston, but it's definitely not something that only happens in Boston. It's something, food waste and food insecurity is a problem nationwide, but also globally. So if you are able to make an impact, we would love to help you in any way you can.
Yes, I think a question was asked in the chat about whether starting a chapter or volunteering for one could help with college or job applications in the future. I think, I mean, just overall, I think it's an experience starting a chapter or spending time volunteering is it's a very rewarding experience personally. I know it has been for Ariana and I, especially as it's something that we've just incorporated into our regular lives. But I think it also is definitely something that teaches you leadership skills and accountability skills. So I think it is really a very useful and meaningful experience for anyone. And I think it's something that we hope people will pursue into the future. So, again, if you'd be interested in starting a chapter, then please do let us know.
Definitely. I think this is something that Sophia and I plan on continuing for the rest of our lives. But also to your question, it is something that colleges are also looking for. But I think what's central to it is how rewarding you feel once you're able to reduce food waste and you're able to bring that food to someone else who really needs it. It is a feeling that I can't even really explain, but it's truly amazing. And if you are able to get involved, we would love for you to. Um,
Amazing presentation, guys.
Thank you.
thank you.
We would be happy to take any questions if anyone is still left wondering something.
Vanya, I'll let you or and Komang, if you two have any questions, go ahead. But otherwise, I have a couple I'd like to ask.
Yeah, I have no questions.
Okay, well then I'll go ahead and ask one. I think the issue that you guys are tackling is very important. Food waste is something that's
Question.
often, yeah, go ahead.
No, I don't have
Oh,
questions.
okay, okay.
Excellent.
Yeah, so I was just thinking that I think it's a great issue that you're tackling. And I was gonna ask for all of the people listening, could you tell them a little bit about the challenges that you faced along the way and the lessons that you've learned and any advice you would have for them?
Definitely. When you ask about challenges, a lot of stuff comes to mind, whether it's stuff within the team or stuff just facing a lot of rejection from these food institutions that we're trying to partner with. Definitely for every 8 restaurants we talk to, maybe only one of them says yes to partnering with us. Another thing that has been a struggle is a lot of the legislation that is already enacted isn't really being implemented. So we see the Emerson Act, which is federal legislation that protects any liabilities that might arise from donating food. One thing about it is that not a lot of people know about this piece of legislation, so they're often in fear to donate their excess food and then subsequently contribute to the food waste.
Yes, definitely that has been a challenge. And again, I mean, that's part of our mission of pushing to sort of spread more awareness and education about those topics. I think just adding on to that, like another issue that we've definitely faced is sort of connecting with like-minded youth. I mean, I think a lot of people, unfortunately, just are unaware of these issues, or you hear about these issues so often, like you hear food waste, food insecurity so often that it's almost as unfortunate as it is, sort of just like a standard thing to hear, and it doesn't really like register in people's minds as much. But finding or connecting with young people, or really just any people who are working towards the same goals, whether it's people our age in different states or different countries, or other organizations, whether they're also student led or if they're operating on a bigger scale that are sort of aiming to solve the same issues, or individuals, professors who study these topics, just anyone within this sort of realm, has been so meaningful because we've been able to see that although a lot of people are unaware on these issues, there are also a lot of like minded people who are passionate about working to decrease the detrimental impacts of these issues. And working with those people has also helped us to educate others on why it's so important.
Definitely. I think one last thing is the Massachusetts commercial food waste ban. We've seen that that is a great piece of legislation, but again, we do come to the issue about a lot of people not being educated about it and people reluctant to partner with us to fully enact and carry out that piece of legislation.
Sorry, I have another question. So if an adult wants to volunteer, can they volunteer?
Of course, we're open to anybody, any age volunteering with us. I think it's an issue that isn't just central to youth, but we love to get youth involved. But for sure, we're definitely open to anybody volunteering with us.
And if
Mhm.
a high school student wants to open a new chapter, do they get any guidance or any mentoring to do so?
Of course, we
Definitely.
always love to meet with you, and we, for all of our chapters, we like to talk with them, set up meetings with them, but you'll also receive guidance from some of our internal liaisons who will be in constant contact with you, answering any questions you might have. But of course, you're always able to ask us questions, and we meet with them very regularly.
Yes, definitely. We're always happy to share our own experiences, because our other chapters, we believe, can learn a lot from just challenges that we've run into, as well as just sort of implement maybe things that have helped us to succeed within our own chapters. And as Ariana was mentioning, we have internal liaisons, which are part of our national board that sort of we're also all just always willing to give a lot of guidance and membership to anyone that's interested. We understand that sometimes maybe starting a chapter of something can seem a little bit daunting, but we're really here to just emphasize and show that it's not a hard or complicated process. It's actually just a very rewarding experience, and we definitely will always help to guide that.
Definitely. I think one thing that we wanted to do is to list our chapters so you're able to see if you live in these areas, how to get involved, who to get in contact, and if there's already initiative in your area, if you're able to join. Um, so of course we are in Boston, Massachusetts. We're also in the DC, Maryland, and Virginia chapter where Ruth has moved. You can also find us in Illinois, in Chicago and in some suburbs, Sophia, if you wanted to share a little bit.
Yes, we're also in New York City as well as Long Island. We're in Long Beach, California. We are in Seattle, Washington. We're also in Rhode Island, and as Ariana said, different parts of Massachusetts, such as Newton, Foxborough. I'm not sure if anyone is familiar with those. And then we are also in different parts of the DMV, in Poolsville, Maryland. Um, and also Montgomery County in Maryland. So if anyone is in that area. And one of our founders, Ruth Gelaye, who is not able to be here today, is the chapter founder of the one in Maryland. So I think she would be able to provide a lot of guidance for anyone who wants to establish a chapter in surrounding states.
And for our international viewers right now, we are in Barcelona in Spain and in Bangkok City in Thailand and in Abu Dhabi in the UAE as well. So if you want to get involved, we would love to connect and help you set up any chapter. Amazing. Thank you, Julie.
And that's amazing, guys. I'm in the Chicago, Illinois area, so I'd love to get involved in your chapter there. I think that'd be great. Um,
That's amazing.
Sounds
Thank you.
amazing.
so yeah, I love how you guys have also like gone international. And kind of on that note, can you tell us a little bit about your like future plans, maybe for the next couple of years or the next 5 years? I think it'd be a good positive note to end your presentation on.
Of course, I think we have a lot in mind when thinking to the next few years. One of our main goals is passing some sort of legislation in the works with the Zero Food Waste Coalition, so we're able to have something that can strategically focus on one center of food waste and consequently help food insecurity as well.
Definitely, yes. Definitely that. We definitely want to make some sort of legislative or policy change, as that is something that hopefully will be implemented on a larger scale. And we also are always just looking to continue expanding our impact. As I was saying earlier, these issues are not predicted to go away. Actually, food waste is predicted to increase. So just continuing to expand our impact and keep educating people so that we can work to like keep combating those issues.
Well, that's amazing. So I wish you all the best in the future. So yeah. It looks like we still have 5 more minutes. So, I have another question for you guys if you're fine with that.
Of
I was
course.
gonna ask, I think a lot of the people that are watching might be younger innovators, that are also interested in starting their own organizations or have their own organizations. So I was wondering if you could speak to any supporters or support you've received throughout your process and how that's helped you and if you think that's important or not.
Definitely. I think it's so important for young people to actually carry out their ideas. Definitely when starting this, it did seem very daunting, but I think one thing that is most important is finding the people that you know care about the same thing. For me, that was Sophia and Ruth. They're very motivated, very driven, and very amazing people that have the same common goals and same common concerns in mind. Another thing is that the only real way for people to do work is to get them to feel the same amount of empathy you have for an issue. So whether that be food insecurity or food waste for us, it might be another issue for those waiting to start something.
Definitely. I think I would also just recommend for anyone that's interested in innovation, like at any level or just surrounding like any topic, connecting with others, whether it's other students, other people your age, or other like older people who may have more experience, and just learning from their experience because I think a lot of the inspiration that we've had has just come from connecting with other people and learning about what other people are doing, and sort of using that to like educate ourselves and then inspire our own mission. So I think definitely just keep educating yourself, keep connecting with people who have similar passions and who are working to combat issues that you're passionate about.
Definitely. And I just wanted to say that in the beginning, I think I mentioned before how daunting it may have seemed, but it seemed like a really small idea, but something that we were definitely very driven about. And at that time, over maybe a little bit more than a year ago, we had 0 meals donated, and now we have 5.5K meals donated around all our chapters. So I just wanted to echo how tangible and how possible all of your goals are.
Definitely, and it may take some time, but whatever impact you are making, it can continue to expand, and you are still making an impact on some scale. And even, I mean, as Ariana said, we've donated about 5,500 meals at this point, but really any amount of meals is still giving a meal to someone in need, and preventing a meal from entering a landfill. So, really, just any impact is still significant.
Yeah.
Amazing advice. Thank you guys so much. And then since we're just gonna squeeze in one more question that Julie asked. She said, do you guys do any talks, whether virtual or in person, at high schools or any areas in your community?
I think we're consistently meeting with people and just sort of promoting our goals or our mission to people within our schools. But we are planning a summer webinar in August. I believe it's the 16th and 17th of August. And sorry, Ariana can add on more to that, but we will have multiple guest speakers and we'll be covering topics such as food insecurity, food waste, agriculture, food waste economics, and sustainability.
Definitely. I would love for anybody to join who is available on August 17th to the 18th. So if you go to our website at novastaboston.org, that's NoVastaboston.org. You'll be able to find a form to RSVP for it, and you're able to hear from a lot of professors from top schools who have personal experience about food waste and food insecurity. So I think that's an amazing opportunity.
Well, that's amazing. I'm sure all the people here would love to join. So they should definitely check that out. And well, thank you guys. That was an amazing presentation. I wish you guys all the best in the future and everything that you've done so far. Just congratulations to you guys. So I hope to see you at the next gift.
Thank you so
Thank
much, and
you
thank
so
you for
much.
having us.
Thank you for
Right,
having
Sofia.
us. Have a
Go
nice
ahead, Sofia.
Thank you.
Right,
See
right,
you.
right.
See you.